Hi guys, and welcome to another Gre Monday. As we have promised the previous episode, today we're going to come up with a full list of flaws usually present in argument prompts. And here with me as usual is Mr. Zangine.
Hi.
Hi.
Good day.
So you've promised us.
Yes, actually, I'm not very good at fulfilling my promises, but this time I have no way out. Okay, I have prepared a list of 19 flaws which are common in arguments. So take a look at that. The first one, unjustified assumptions, then skill and will flaw, extreme language, terms are too vague flaw, predicting the future flaw, what's their motivation flaw, the troubled analogy problem or flaw, confusing signs of a thing for the thing itself, short-term versus long-term flaw, sample isn't representative, sample is too small, no control group, the ever-changing pool, correlation does not equal causation, nothing is quantified, how was it before, alternate cause, alike doesn't mean identical, and percents versus real numbers. 19
Let's go
flaws here.
over some of them.
Definitely, it's very time consuming if you just want
only some of them, so we will discuss some of them.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's get started with unjustified assumptions. What is it?
Unjustified assumptions. Previous session, we definitely talked about this. I remember it was about Mason River, and a lot of people took part in a survey. So, unjustified assumptions are some assumptions which are present in the mind of the person who made that argument, who created that argument, the author of the argument. And these assumptions are of two different major types. Some of them are not true, some of them are true. So, we call all of them unjustified assumptions. We actually, as listeners, we don't know anything about this. If this assumption is supported by some evidence and some facts or not. So we put our finger in this and say that, hey, this is an assumption. Is there any evidence to support it or not? If you do not have any evidence to support this, so it is probable that some evidence refuting this assumption to be.
And I remember they said it's the first thing you do, finding the assumptions.
Yes.
And by essence, assumptions are always unjustified. Yeah? Or
yes.
Okay. So can you make an example, like from the previous?
Like the previous argument, if you remember, it says that in surveys, Mason City residents, blah, 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 mentioned that their favorite recreational activities is water sports. So the assumption is this. First of all, when you mention some statistical information or the result of a survey, the first assumption is that that survey is both valid and reliable.
Yeah.
This is very important. So you can definitely ask some questions about the validity and reliability. And the other assumption is this: when actually people respond and say that this is my favorite recreational activity,
again,
it means that they want to perform that. So this is an assumption, right? We need to ask some questions regarding this.
All right, so let's move on to some other points on the list. So on the list, we got this: terms are too vague. How can vagueness of terms be a flaw?
You go and visit your doctor, and your doctor says that, hey, you need to do sports more. You see this in actually the line of reasoning in an argument, that to stay healthy, you need to do more sports. So the question is this: what is the meaning of more? I mean, just like, I don't know, it depends on the times that you go to the gym, it depends on the time that you spend there, or it depends on the calorie that you burn. We don't know what this is vague, right? So we ask for clarification. What does the speaker exactly mean by more sports?
The previous video, one episode, with the word little of his budget,
yes. That was absolutely judgmental. We don't know the whole amount of budget. So we don't know the percentage that goes to maintaining riverside facilities. So we should be provided with some facts and figures, some clear data.
Okay. And then let's look at this predicting the future. I don't know how it can
the
be
future.
a problem
In some,
and a flaw.
in some arguments, we have this kind of story that the CEO or I don't know, the manager or dean of a university or something says that because recently we witness increase in the number of students who are enrolled in our university. So if we witness this trend for the next 50 years, definitely 50 years later, we would need two more dormitories. So it's a wise decision to buy 2 pieces of land to build those dormitories I don't know, within the next half century. So here the speaker assumed that all the situation would stay constant and fixed for the next 50 years, and this trend, this upward trend, will continue for half a century. So it might be realistic, it might not be realistic. Some other things should be considered here, right? Just like competition, or I don't know. When we're talking about dormitory, we're talking about brick and mortar style of studying, just like going to classrooms. So do you think that within the next 50 years, everything would stay like this? What about online learning? What about some other facts? What about other universities that would establish some branches in the area and would definitely take away your clients? So these are some points that should be considered. And just like rosy predictions, we call them rosy predictions, are not very logical unless proven otherwise.
All right. So look at this item. The trouble analogy or the false analogy. What is this?
Oh, yeah. When you're comparing two different things, that they have more differences than similarities, apples and oranges. When you are comparing these two, definitely just you're comparing two things that there is a world of difference between these two. Comparing a car manufacturing company with a filmmaking company is just like false analogy. Why? Because of the speed of progress of technology in these two should be compared. Target customers are not the same. Expiry date for just like materials is not the same, and a lot of different things, a lot of problems, and the type of customer target group is not the same. So if you compare the achievements or the results in one entity and you want to apply that to the other one, it is faulty analogy or false analogy. Like, for example, to reduce traffic jams, you decided to build a new road in City A some years back, and to solve the same problem in City B, you want to do the same thing. Right. So there are two different things. First of all, in City A, you say that some years back you did that. Short-term result was positive and effective, or long-term. I mean, still, that solution works or not. And question number 2, which is related to false analogy, City A and City B, are they the same? I mean, the number of people living there, the types of cars, the rush hours, and roads, a lot of different things should be considered there. And the trend of the just like the busiest hours, the same or not. So if you want to make this comparison, you're going to make sure that the similarities are more than the differences. Definitely.
All right, one last question for today's talk. Can you specify 5 of the most common flaws in argument prompts?
Most common flaws. One of them is flaws related to studies and surveys.
Okay.
And the other type, faulty analogy or false analogy.
Yeah.
The other one is...
I guess vagueness of terms are also...
Vagueness of terms, yes. And unjustified assumptions always
always
present, always. And the last one, I would go for correlation does not mean causation. I mean, just like a fallacy regarding causality. If A and B happen, A precedes B, it does not necessarily mean that A caused B. This is also very
common. Thank you very much. All right, that was it for today. Thanks for watching. And if you want more information, visit our website at zdcprep.com. And don't forget, leave some nice comments to show us your full support. Thank you.